Hi, my name is Jesse Lucas. I am a teacher at Pikeville High School, and my project was called STEM Virtual Worlds. So, my problem of practice was, can we use technology to spark interest in STEM fields even in a pandemic? So, really, my focus was these kids were going to be at home a lot of the times. We were on a red schedule. We were also on a yellow schedule, which was a hybrid schedule where they were only here 2 days a week. Now, currently, we are back to a normal schedule, but during that time, it's hard to really get invested into classes. And I feel like, especially in a science class like a physics or engineering classroom, it's really difficult to keep these students' interest because those classes are generally way more hands-on than some of the other classes. Um, so what I tried to do is I tried to find some pieces of technology that would allow me to still have a hands-on approach with students if they were in a hybrid schedule, if they were on the normal schedule, or even if they were on red schedule. So what I got was the first thing I got was called Robot C Virtual Worlds, and this was for my Principles of Engineering class. The next thing that I got was a Vernier video analysis, and I'm going to use that in my intro to physics. And then my last one was I got an iPad with a couple different apps on it, but the one that I'm mostly going to highlight is called the Explain Everything app. And I got that for all of my classes, physics and engineering alike. So the first one I want to talk about is the iPad and the Explain Everything app. So what the Explain Everything app is it's basically a virtual whiteboard. It's got animation features, it's got video editing, and it's got a ton of different resources in the package that I actually bought. So I can do it with remote whiteboarding. I can actually get students to look at my whiteboard if they were at home. It has cloud storage, so it saves all my videos to me, and I can save it straight to my Google Drive, which is awesome. And it is one small purchase each year. Now, I do plan on repurchasing the part that has a lot of the resources each year. It's just a couple bucks. The main app really only cost about $10. Well, I think it was $15. So it wasn't a big chunk of it. But I do plan on, like I said, buying the package every year with all of the different resources, like the cloud storage and a lot of the advanced video editing. So where are we at with it right now? I, especially when we were on our yellow schedule, I bought a lot of apps. But I will be honest, it took a little bit for me to actually get it because when I was trying to buy this iPad and some of the applications that go with it, Kentucky's technology department was in discussion with Apple. So I actually didn't end up getting this iPad probably until January, which is a lot later than what I had hoped, but I do have it now, so I have been able to make a lot of videos since then. And with those videos, I will say it was during a yellow schedule, and it is super easy to make those videos. Very easy with the headphones that I got, very easy with the Apple Pen that I got. And the Explain Everything app, the usability of it is phenomenal. It's very intuitive, it's very easy to use. And I will say this, my students have responded super well to it. And I put it in all caps, but the color coding with all of the different math problems, I think has taken it from here all the way up to the next level. It's made it a lot easier for students to see what I'm doing and where I'm getting these certain numbers and variables from, especially in my Principles of Engineering class, when a lot of that stuff, you have to have a lot of drawings. So I color code all of the drawings and the numbers associated with the drawings, and then I can take it over here and then still color code it super easy and super quickly in the actual problem. I don't lose any time like I would in class if I was using just a real whiteboard and I had to switch back and forth between colored markers. And 94% of the students said it helped better than regular videos. When I would walk through it, I made them much more often because it was easier for me to make, and the color coding really changed it. The animation changed it. 94% said you've always got some of those sticklers that are probably if we're being honest, probably didn't even watch the videos anyways. Um, so a couple different ways that I've been using the app and the iPad is I use it to walk around class, and I actually use it almost like a handheld whiteboard. But it's a little bit easier because I can walk around. It's easy to help the individual students, and I have a huge workspace. I can zoom in, I can zoom out. It's an infinite canvas basically. So it's easy for me to put a lot of information on that tiny little screen. And just a side note, my kids, uh, hopefully they were just playing and just kind of teasing me a little bit, but they were like, "Ooh, look at Mr. Lucas. He's cool with his new iPad." So I think the students thought it was kind of cool actually that I was using a newer piece of technology in the class. They kept calling me tech savvy every time that I'd use it for a student. Um, and another way that I've been using it, especially since we've switched to our normal schedule, so I have up to 24 kids in one of my classes, and my class is super small. We still try and keep them spaced out. Um, and my classroom is really odd where I have my smartboard up front and my whiteboard in the back, but they all have to be facing the same direction. So they're all facing away from my whiteboard and to my smartboard. So I've actually downloaded an app, a couple different apps actually, on the iPad that lets me screen share with my whiteboard. So I can still maintain a safe distance. The students don't have to keep looking and turning their head the other way, which is safer for them anyways. And they can still see me work out problems on a board for them. And I've been super grateful for that. I actually hadn't thought of that when I wrote the grant, but that's something that I've picked up, and hopefully I can pick up some more things like that as well, especially if you guys can give me some feedback. So as far as the Vernier video analysis, so what it is, it's a video analysis app for computers. So it's on my computers in my room, and it's really, really nice. Basically what it is, you select a video, you take a video of yourself maybe throwing a ball, jumping, some type of movement. It's got to be some type of movement, and it can give you data immediately. Super streamlined, super simple data, very easy to read, very intuitive. It'll give you position graphs, it'll give you motion graphs, and it can do it in multiple directions too, which is very, very powerful for my big kid physics class, my upper level physics class, not my intro to physics, but my upper. Because that's kind of the difference between those two classes. If you can see the different directions, it simplifies a lot of the stuff for us. So being able to see it in the X, the Y, and the Z direction is a huge thing. And it is a perpetual license, which means I don't have to buy it again. I've always got it. So that's going to be a big help. Where are we at right now with it? Well, unfortunately, by the time that I was able to actually get it from Vernier, I couldn't use it on the units I was at. Now, I will probably be able to use it in this upcoming unit, which is rotational motion. But most of the applications for this app, like I said, it gives you position and motion and acceleration graphs. And that's more of the content at the beginning of the year in our kinematics unit. So I will be able to use it at the beginning of the next year. I've got it on all 30 computers that I have in my room. So I've been tinkering around with it a little bit in my engineering classes, just to kind of show the students what it is and how powerful it is. But I don't have any data backing it up yet because I haven't quite hit that unit. And then the last thing that I got was Robot C Virtual Worlds. This is a really cool one. This is a really interesting one. And this is a simulator for VEX robotics. So in my principles to engineering class, the last unit, really the last 9 weeks, is us building robots and programming them and using those programs to do things autonomously. So we don't have to have a controller. We can program these robots to really do whatever we want with whatever sensors they have attached to them. The students, right there, it says students may or may not get to build it, but as of right now, we are on a normal schedule. So the students will actually get to build it, which means that they won't have to, the entire unit won't be on Robot C Virtual World. If we were out, then it would be the whole unit. They would program, they would do it in the virtual world. But now we can still use it on a normal schedule, because what happens is you write your program for Robot C, and then once you write that program, before uploading it to your robot to see if it does it in real life, you can upload it instead to Robot C Virtual World and make sure the program is exactly how you want it. Instead of attaching your robot to the computer, uploading it, taking the minute for it to upload, putting it on the ground, putting it exactly where it needs to be, pressing play on the program, running, seeing where it's messing up, and then going back and fixing the program, we can see it almost instantly. And that's going to save huge amounts of time in a year where we've lost a lot of time. So it should be super beneficial in that regard. And it is a perpetual license, which means I have it forever. No one will come back next year. I won't have to buy anything. They can't take it away from me. I've got it year in and year out. So where we're at right now, like I said just a minute ago, it is our last fourth 9 weeks, the entirety of the 9 weeks. And my students will actually start it on Monday, which would be April the 4th, maybe. So my students will be starting it on Monday. So I don't have technically any data yet. I will be taking a pre-assessment before we start the build and before we start learning the sensors and using the program. So I will have some early data within the next week, but unfortunately right now I don't have any data with that. I will say this as well, something that I've done recently since getting the grant is we are starting in the TSA program, and there's VEX robotics competitions. So I will also be using that to help garner interest in the VEX robotics competitions. And one of the things that I will say is, the better you get at Robot C, we can actually run it at your house, and that way we can practice at our house without even using the robots. So that is another quick application that I am going to use it with. I am going to start utilizing it for the robotics team coming this fall for the TSA program in the next springtime. Yeah, and that is my presentation. Unfortunately, like I said, I don't have much data other than the data for the iPad and the videos. Let me know if you have any questions.